chasing the signals, breaking through.
Okay, I'm back with another live stream. So my friend is on right now. I'm going to see if I can get him real quick here. And hopefully he's on 310, Talk Group 310. Lima Zulu 3 Alpha, Lima X-Ray. Lima Zulu 3 Alpha, Lima X-Ray. You there? Over? Okay. Okay. Lima Zulu 3 Alpha, Lima X-Ray. Lima Zulu 3 Alpha, Lima X-Ray. You there? Okay, let's see. What am I doing wrong here? Okay. Let's see. Hopefully you can hear me. Yay! Yes, I am on DMR. How are you? Yeah, I just got done doing an HF video and I just started a DMR and I thought a friend of mine was going to be here, but I don't see him yet. Just trying to set up. This is kind of a fast one, so all right. Hey, how you doing, Roundhouse? How you doing? Welcome to the live stream. KF7IWA. Welcome aboard. Oh, that's a good one. That's good. This was kind of off guard type of thing. Lima Zulu 3 Alpha Lima X-Ray. You there? Lima Zulu 3 Alpha Lima X-Ray. Do you copy? Okay, hold on. Hey, how's it going? There you are. I was beginning to wonder about you. Yeah, welcome aboard. Yeah, I was really looking forward to talking to you on HF there. I wish I could have talking to you, but wow, I guess the conditions are just too noisy. Over. Wow. Lima Zulu 3, Lima Zulu 3 Alpha Lima X-Ray, you there? I just heard him.
Definitely a bit too noisy conditions on HF. Here isn't very noisy, but like really the issue here is that there are a lot of Russians which...
Yeah, that was too bad. That was too bad. Yeah, the HF bands were just kind of going in and out of there a little bit. But yeah, I haven't checked into that net for a long time. That was the early bird Crackle Barrel net, the early bird Crackle Barrel net on 47.185. And then, yeah, I was really hoping I could talk to you on some of those other frequencies. And oh, wow. Maybe one day. But I think the problem is my vertical is just way too short for that. And it's only like 20 to 30 feet up in the air. And I got an east ridge on the other side of me towards the east here that's kind of too high. So that could be a problem there too. I'm not sure. Over. Wow. Let's see.
Roger that. Now I can hear you perfectly on DMR. Just there was some traffic on the local repeater making it harder. But the problem here is that really here in Europe there is a lot of there are just a lot of stations on the 40-meter band, and it's very hard to find an open spot.
Oh,
And
wow.
even if they aren't, I think my dipole is way too low. I need to at least put my dipole, I think, 20 meters in the air. Sorry, I don't know how much that's in feet, but my current dipole is about 5 meters in the air, which is quite low for 7 megahertz.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, you betcha. I completely understand. And yeah, that might be a problem. But maybe if you can, I don't know if you can, but maybe sometime down the road, get a mast and maybe put the dipole on the mast and maybe go up about 30 or 40 feet up in the air if you can. And that might definitely help. Over.
Well, that was my idea. My idea was to make an inverted V on the roof. I live in an apartment block, so the first issue it's kind of hard to get roof access. And the second, I don't know what mast to buy, which is like 15 meters tall. Like, really for me, it's hard to find masts, and these type of stuff are hard. Do you have any suggestion for masts? Like, tall ones and preferably telescopic ones which can be used for bolt and salt as well. Over.
Oh boy, no, I don't. Are you pretty restricted with antenna space? If you don't mind me asking, are you pretty restricted?
No, on the roof I have plenty of space. Just the thing is, for an inverted V to work properly, I know that there's certain height requirements on the mast, and the issue is the lower the frequency, the longer the antenna needs to be, and that
Yeah,
means that the mast needs to be higher as well. And sure, let's say for 20-meter band, 14 megahertz, I could easily put up a fishing rod, which is about 8 meters tall, and easily make an inverted V. But when you go down to 3.5 megahertz, when you go to these lower frequencies, there you need a higher mast, so you don't actually get NVIS radiation, if you have heard of
yeah,
that.
that's true. Yeah, that's very true. If you touch it just right, you could get radiation. That's right. Boy, I the only thing that I don't know too much about inverted V's. I used to have a G5RV at one time, and then I kind of got frustrated with it, and then I had issues with that with the G5RV. So I'm running a 30-foot vertical about 30 feet up in the air. It's called a Comet antenna, A250B Comet, and it works sometimes, but sometimes no. But yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have any suggestions. I wish I did to help you out there. Over.
No problem. That's the thing to learn. All of us in this hobby have to sometimes learn stuff. And really here, I saw the G5RV design. Why don't you try and build your own dipole, like to build one by yourself? Try an inverted V, because by what I have seen in YouTube and other social medias, an inverted V dipole is more omnidirectional than, let's
That's
say,
true.
a flat dipole. And plus I suggest you try and feed it with a coaxial cable, because here I see the G5RV design, it's with a ladder line, but really ladder lines, you have to be careful with them. You have to first of all have a transformer at the radio, and also if you're using ladder line, you need to make sure it's not touching any metal, while a coaxial cable, you can pretty much route it however you want. Over.
Yeah, definitely true there. Definitely, I agree with you there. That's for sure there. And yeah, you can't have any metal touching, and the SWR has to be tuned just right and everything, and it can be kind of tricky. I agree with you.
My suggestion is, so if you want to try building an antenna, my suggestion is an inverted V if you can find a suitable mast for it with a one-to-one balance, and you can try tuning it with, let's say, an antenna analyzer like a nano VNA, because those are pretty good for tuning them. And plus, inverted V typo, it has naturally good SWR. It's naturally
No.
50 ohms, which means it has a 1.0 SWR. Over.
Yeah, a big 10-4 there, a big one there. And SWR plays a big factor. I agree. And yeah, I have that problem too, because sometimes on my end when I get on 80 and 40 meters, I have to use the built-in tuner on my end, and because even though it says it's perfectly tuned on my vertical, it's not perfectly tuned, because sometimes it'll go up to 2.0 or a 1.7 sometimes on 80 meters, and then on 40 it goes up and down and it varies. But I agree. The SWR does play a critical factor. Over. Big time.
Over. The T's SWR, like, even initially when I became a new cam, a lot of people told me 1.5 SWR is okay, 1.7, 2, like, sure, a tuner can handle it, but if you actually, the thing is, the issue isn't the fact that you don't have a tuner, because really the tuner just helps protect the radio, but if you actually want to get out somewhere, be heard, and be able to receive stations, you need an antenna which is suitable for those bands. Over.
Yeah, definitely true. And maybe when I remember back in the day with the older vintage radios, you had to really be careful because the SWR, if it was just off just a little bit, like you were just saying, it could have fried the radio. And today's newer equipment, I don't think it would hurt it so much. But yeah, it's definitely a critical factor. I agree. Other than that, though, how are things doing over there? And I forgot where you live now. I forgot. Never thought to look, but it's snowing like crazy here. We got like maybe a foot of snow going on right now, and there's more coming. Over.
Over. There's definitely more coming. Just the problem is, like, I agree the older transceivers were way more sensitive, but it's good practice
Bulgaria.
to always keep your SWR to acceptable levels, regardless of transceiver, because let's say you want to work with high power, like a kilowatt, then there you really want your SWR to be good. Over.
That's right. That's right. And and I've been on HF for a long time, a very long time, and I I used to be a heavy contester on HF. I used to do a lot of contesting. I got, I burnt up one radio. I remember I had a Yaesu FTA97D, and that was my Mobile HF radio, and I really fell in love with that radio. And then one time I burnt it up, and then a friend of mine told me to get into the FT950, a solid state transceiver, and then I got the Yaesu Astron power supply. It was about 35 amps, and been doing contesting for the since oh boy, maybe 2012 roughly. And then I quit doing it because a friend of mine disappeared. Me and a friend of mine were doing it for a while, and then yeah, I started getting to DMR and been enjoying it ever since. Over.
Over. I also really enjoy the these. I'm the type of guy who really likes this hobby. I'm interested in all types of contesting, including HF, but I'm also very interested in VHF and UHF contesting,
Yeah.
SSB on, like, VHF and UHF, and really I like all sorts of ham radio activity, and I don't mind DMR either. And even sometime I'm planning to try microwave, but
Oh
my
wow.
opinion for microwave frequencies is that there it's best to do them when you're actually a ham with some experience, because
That's
for new
true.
hams they could be quite challenging. Over.
Yes, I agree. I've heard that too. And I don't know how, I heard a friend of mine tell me one time where the microwave and the antennas on the microwave frequencies get extremely hot. And I had this one friend of mine one time, he accidentally touched the antenna and it was super hot. And he actually burnt his hand, and I think he even got radiation out of it. It was so hot. And he learned his lesson to never do that again. But I would love to do that someday, microwave frequencies. I would love to learn that someday, but I didn't think very many people are still doing that, microwave frequencies anymore. Over. I didn't think there were too many doing that anymore. That's interesting.
Well, here in Sofia, there, I heard there is some activity. It would be cool, like, to actually have people on all frequencies because
Wow.
all of them have different characteristics. But in my area, most of the people here are on HF and VHF and UHF. But otherwise, microwaves do have their uses, especially one very
Wow.
interesting thing about microwaves is that except CW, SSB, and all this stuff, you could also transfer data at high rate. By the way, do you do CW as well, over?
I don't. No, I don't do any Morse code. Someday I would like to learn how to do it, but I haven't had a chance to do it yet. I don't even know the rhythm or anything. I don't have a clue how to do Morse code. I'm sorry, I don't. I wish I did. I'm planning on learning it someday, but I'm gonna buy a little oscillator and a maybe a Morse code practice, and I'm gonna see if I can do it. Over. No, I don't know how to do it.
Moreover, I am also in the process of learning Morse code. Like the issue is that for Morse code, like for me the problem is that it's very hard to decode like the messages, especially when the, let's say, characters per second, when they're at a very high rate, it's very hard to decode. But
It
most of
is.
them are. Like my suggestion for CW, like for buying a special practice device, most of the time it's not required. It's just good to like have, if you do FT8 for example and have
Hmm.
digital interface connected to your radio, you could put up a CW decoder which can help you like decode the stuff initially. And for practice you just need to turn off the break-in feature and you can practice your keying like that. Over.
Okay, wow, I never thought of that. That's interesting. I'll definitely look into that. Wow. But yeah, and a friend of mine told me that there's actually you have to have a special ear for it and a special tone, and it takes practice. It takes a lot of practice to learn how to do that. But yeah, someday I'm definitely going to do that. I'm definitely going to learn how to do it someday. Wow.
Do you have an actual CW key, like an actual keyer? Over.
No, no, I don't have anything yet. I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. Over.
Over. Otherwise, you have a pretty nice radio. Like I do like Yaesu radios. In
Well,
fact, I
thank
was
you.
thinking of getting a Yaesu FD950 initially because I really like how that radio looks. But I got this Kenwood because this
Kenwood's
Kenwood
good.
was actually from a gift from a fellow ham who is a friend of mine. Over.
Oh wow, wow, Roger, Roger there. Yeah, the Yaesu. I've always followed Yaesu radios. They're really good, and I've had this Yaesu FT950 for the past and the 3000 for the past maybe 5 7 years, somewhere in there, 5 to 7 years, and they still work. They still work, and I'm not on HF as much as I used to be, but I definitely do like HF. I do like HF activity, and the one net that I just checked into, the Cracker Barrel net or the Early Bird net, I haven't done that since, oh boy, maybe 2013 or 2012. Over.
Oh, over. We really don't have that much nets here. Like we just have a frequency here in our area. It's
Oh wow.
3.764 mega. It's 3.764 kilohertz. We just get around for here the local people. We get around on this frequency and talk, but we
Wow.
don't like do an official net. but otherwise I do like the idea of nets as well. Over.
Yes, I agree. I agree. And I used to check into a few nets when I was on HF, and there was a net that I used to check into called the Ole Miss net, the Old Man Mission Inter Society net, I think they were called themselves. And that was a long net. That was a long net because by the time after 2 or 3 hours, it would be a 2 or 3 hour net, and you would have to wait your turn after 2 or 3 hours. And then after a while, I didn't have the patience for it. And then I checked into some other nets, the Saturn net on HF, I think it was called. I think that was a veterans net, a Saturn, something called Saturn. And then there was some other nets, some emergency nets I checked into at one time. And I can't remember any else besides the early bird net. And then I checked into a net with some friends of mine here. They usually do a net about 10:30, on 40 meters around 7.200 or 214 roughly on megahertz here in my area in Butte, Montana. And they usually have a good get together for a good half hour or so. And yeah, they're not too bad. Over.
Over. That's very nice that you have a lot of nets to join and you have a lot of options. And otherwise, do you like do VHF, UHF, like not DMR but analog VHF and UHF, and
I
also
do.
repeaters and stuff like that, and echo link? Over.
You know what? I never had a chance to enjoy Echolink or experience it yet, but I do like to do VHF and UHF occasionally. I used to do 6 meters activity on that. I think that's VHF or UHF. I can't remember, but I think it's UHF now that I think of it. But I used to do 6 meter activity, and I wish it was open right now, the 6 meter band, but I guess that's called the magic band for a reason. And yeah, I love to do VHF and UHF. There was one time I tried to get into the contesting of UHF and VHF, but I couldn't hear anybody with my mobile radio. I got a Kenwood TM271A, and I just turned it on for the first time last night, and in about 6, 7 years maybe, and I checked into one of our other nets here. It was called the Monday Night Net. I had to talk to some friends of mine that were on there, and wow. And yeah, I'd like to do that when I can. Over.
Over. That's very nice that you've also got nets on VHF and UHF. And in general, like for contesting, I heard mainly, at least here in Europe, for contesting on VHF and UHF, we use SSB. So maybe
Wow.
that's one reason why it might have been harder for you to contest, because there you need an SSB radio most of the time, even though there are some contests which are done on FM as well. And the 6 meter band, I haven't
Yeah.
gotten a chance to work that yet. And by the way, that is a VHF band. UHF is 430 megahertz and above, and VHF is 50
Okay, so I had
megahertz
it
and
backwards.
144. Over.
Oh, okay. I had it backwards then. Okay, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I used to do some activity on 6 meters, and I made a couple videos of that one time, but never uploaded it to YouTube yet. And I just was listening to I like to listen more on HF bands. I don't usually like to rag chew too much. I like to listen and learn more. I like to keep my mouth shut a lot of times. But anyway, yeah, it's just amazing. It's amazing. Over.
Yes, like really, it's amazing. I also like learning stuff, experimenting, and see where I could go. Also, do you do by any chance some digital modes on HF as well? Like, doesn't have to necessarily be FT8. Like for me, I'm also interested in digital modes like BBSs, AX25 over IP, and all these type of modes. Over.
Oh boy. To be honest with you, I don't. Try to stay away from that stuff on the digital side of HF till I get more experience with it. I did try the FT8 one time, and I think I only made 2 contacts on FT8, but I wasn't sure if I was doing it right. By the time I had the entire setup correct, I had the cables all hooked up. I had everything all ready to go, and I didn't even know if I was even getting out. And then I thought I made 2 contacts, but then come to find out they were not what I thought they were. So then I quit doing it. And then just as soon as I quit doing it, it's funny because I had it one contact me and I wasn't even sure if he was even for real. And wow, that's the only time I ever did FT8, over. That was the only time.
For me, similar story with FT8. FT8 in general, like for me, they didn't have the equipment for it. Like I don't have like a sound card which I can use for FT8, and I tried doing it with my Android phone and with the speaker of the phone and
Yeah, I've done
pressing
that too.
the PTT. I did manage 1 contact, but that's about it. Over.
You know what? I've done that too. I've done that too. I've actually hooked up a cable from the radio where the phone jack goes into the computer, and I tried to do the receive and tried to transmit that way through the sound card, but it never worked for me either. It never did. And there must be something I'm doing wrong, and maybe one of these days I'll have somebody walk me through it on what I did wrong. But other than that, I never did HF or digital HF on that part of the area. Over.
Over, I could give you some advice because I'm
Sure.
actively researching. I'm now planning a new project which is building scene signal links. Like that's the easiest way to get onto HF signal link, DigiRig, but the problem is their price. Like here in Bulgaria, that's 300 level, which is about $150, which is quite expensive. And I
Yeah.
see that there's some schematics that where you could turn a regular sound card, which is let's say a CM108 based sound card, which is in basic terms it's a USB sound card, and those sound cards are easily usable for this type of stuff. Over.
Okay, wow, Roger. Yeah, I had seen those SDR cards that you're talking about, and I just never got around to doing it. And I guess I'm just being too lazy to do it, but I'm definitely going to look into it one of these days. I'm going to definitely get into FT8 because I would like to learn how to do that. And because there's sometimes I'm just too tired to talk or get into right chewing. And yeah, I would love to do that. I think I'm going to look into that sometime, over. Yeah, I'm going to go into that at someday. Hey, how you doing? Hello from
So
Kilo.
FT8, why for
Welcome.
contesting? And I suggest if you want to get back into Costa and Steam, like I really did enjoy, what was it called? There was a contest like it was the worldwide award
That's a
contest
good
in
one.
January, and there it would have been very useful to have FT8 because when you get tired from trying to make contacts and stuff, you could still put up FT8 and have it make contacts for you while, let's say, you want to rest for a bit. It's very good, the FT8, for this type of situation. Just like my suggestion is with a CM108 sound card, all you need to do is just make sure that the output voltage of the sound card isn't too high for the radio itself. And also, the hardest part is getting the radio to PTT, to push to talk, which is also there are multiple ways. You could either use a serial port, specific pins on a serial adapter to activate the PTT, or you
Okay.
could use, let's say, GPIO pin 0 on the CM108 sound card for PTT, but that is Vox-based activate. Basically, if the sound card detects audio, then it activates PTT. Over.
Okay, wow, Roger. I'll definitely remember that. That's amazing because, yeah, I never thought about doing it that way. Huh. And yeah, I forgot that they do contesting there on the HF World. I forgot they did that, but wow, that's amazing. That's a truly amazing, over. Huh. What just happened to my camera? Something just happened to my camera here. I don't know what just happened.
I didn't hear your last transmission. Can you repeat again?
Yeah.